Do you ever feel like maybe your SP's behavior doesn't really make sense? Why is it maybe one day warm, the next day cold or pulling away? Well, I can tell you it's not random. They are just reflecting one thing that we're going to delve into in this video, your dominant story. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going back into your SP manifestation experience and what's really going on with where your dominant focus is, how your SP is going to be responding to that, and why that is what dominates and reflects outwards in your relationship with your SP at whatever level it is right now. So we're going to get into that in multiple stages. I have tons of different points of advice, affirmation suggestions, kind of more towards the end of the video. So you want to stay tuned for that as well. Right before jumping into the content, for any new viewers, hello, I'm a content creator, manifestation coach. On screen, I'll pop all my extra info. If you want one-to-one guidance, extra support, or personalized questions, please do not leave them in the comments because they will not get answered. If you would like that extra direct support, which I do believe you can still get a lot of help from my free content, so no obligation, but you can sign up as a member for $8.99 a month or get direct coaching with me via my website. Everything is right below. So now let's start the video. As nice as it would be, your SP isn't actually responding and reflecting what you want. They're reflecting what you assume is true. They're going to respond through their behavior, literally reacting to what's going on internally, not thinking, I wish this would happen with, SP. It's where your focus is actually going and what you assume. So every belief, every story, meaning maybe a real memory or a doubt or an imaginal scene or anything of that nature, basically whatever's repeating and going through your mind is what they're going to act out in real life. So thinking about not every single thought, but your dominant repetitive thoughts. So if you have one-off thought, try to apply your mental diet, that would be ideal, but you don't have to catch it, you don't have to control or focus on that granular level. But every belief that you have about your SP is what's reflecting outwards, and by focusing on the new positive version that you want, which would basically be the opposite of anything bad in your current 3D reality, you're going to undo and resolve all those deep-rooted issues in the subconscious. So don't worry about that. Just keep focusing on the repetition of the new and the positive. So yeah, every belief, every assumption, every story that you're repeating to yourself, that you're focusing on, what is it that you think represents the quality of your current connection? Do you consider it non-existent? Do you consider it distant? Do you consider it kind of fractured? Good, bad, whatever the words are and descriptive terms that you would use, that's a good way to see where you're at right now and what is the story you're repeating to yourself. So if they're being kind of hot and cold and maybe it's very like up and down currently, I've talked about this a lot in other videos and specific causes, but it is of course tied into what's going on internally. So they're going to be acting that out in your reality. So if you think to yourself, if things are up and down and you can't quite get to maybe a level of commitment, which is oftentimes the issue as well, things that I work on resolving with clients, thinking, maybe they always pull away, they always ghost me, or they never fully commit, or whatever the case may be, that's what your subconscious is kind of projecting out. It's the assumption that unfortunately has been built up, but you can undo it through repetition of the new, of the positive. So your subconscious mind would be kind of broadcasting and the kind of quantum connection that's being put out, and that's going to be quantum frequency, so to speak, is going to be what's being projected to your SP, and they have to, of course, reflect back your assumptions. You can't believe really negative things and then someone treats you really well, or view them and remember negative things and then they treat you perfectly, and vice versa. If you think really negative things, you're not going to experience the desired relationship that you want. So as you're shifting that story, which most of you guys watching probably have been pretty consistent, maybe doing everything perfectly by the book, so to speak, and saying, they want to commit to me, they're committing to me right now, they only want me, they're focused on me, we have a great relationship, they love me, whatever the case may be, all these positive assumptions, they are going to start reflecting that. They're going to start conforming and shifting to that. But remember, they're acting out the story that your subconscious mind has been projecting up until now. Sometimes the positive shifts take a little bit of time for that old story that's been playing out forever to stop playing out. So for that to be filtered out, sometimes it does take a little bit of time. But remember that new behavior does kick in when you start kind of focusing on and anchoring into the new version. So remembering that your subconscious mind creates that dominant narrative, it's not your circumstances, it's not your 3D reality, that's a reflection, that's showing you where you're at, what the quality of your thoughts have been at up until now or up until recently. It's even more reassuring to think that, you know, it's all deep within my mind and the subconscious mind, because what you're seeing now is not the be all end all. It's not objective. It's not necessarily factual. Everyone has their own perspective. You might see something on social media, or your SP might word things in a certain way and you take a certain meaning because of the old story. So remember, it's not objective. What you're seeing out there is temporary. Everything can and will change if you persist. So you will literally see and then interpret everything that you're seeing based on what's within the subconscious mind. Where are those root beliefs? What are they tied to? But that's a good thing. It's all within you. You have the power and ability to shift your life. So on a quantum level, it's tied into this concept of the observer effect, where it creates the expectation of what you're going to see, what you're going to experience. Because what you consistently expect to see is what physically collapses into form from all the limitless possibilities, all the potential quantum realities that can exist. The one that physically collapses into form is where your observation goes, meaning your dominant focus. And in a different format of having faith and a spiritual approach and having just that internal faith despite the unseen, a really great quote that literally Jesus himself said was, "According to your faith, be it unto you." Meaning that when you have faith and what you assume, that creates the results. Your life is shaped by your faith. You have to maintain that. So it's a really great way to see it in your own personal individual experience, your mindset, because we have our souls, our minds, our bodies, like that's forever throughout our lives. That's what we're guaranteed and what we have to kind of hone and focus on and develop and just bring to the highest possible level, right? So when you have that internal faith and what you assume, it's creating what you experience in your reality. And also remembering that your specific person doesn't hold the full free will in your reality to simply behave outside of your expectations and assumptions. Now, these have to be like literal assumptions and beliefs. I don't mean thinking one bad thing or one good thing and it controls someone else's life. It's not control. It's simply a mirror reflection of what you assume your relationship with them will be, the treatment, types of people, specific people, obviously the person you want to be with in this case. So they don't have that free will to simply act against where your belief goes, positive or negative. Where you really want to keep your focus is day to day. If you're affirming and you're staying consistent, but you feel like it's really not shifting, you're not feeling that shift or seeing movement for a prolonged period of time, for example, and you just, something feels off, or you want to kind of propel things forward even more, catch that old programming, the old story popping up in your thoughts, thinking it's not working, they're not conforming, they don't care about me, or something like that. That's the old programming, that's the old story. It's not the objective truth. So you want to catch it and flip it immediately. So some great examples would be, they're constantly reaching out to me, they're constantly messaging me, this relationship is divinely guided, this relationship is working out for my highest good, everything is unfolding with SP as it's meant to, just anything positive of literal actions that you want, or simply flipping it into the positive opposite. You know, something positive, meaning the relationship is positive, in your favor, the way it's meant to be, healthy and happy, you know, anything that would imply that outcome. So of course, as I always say, consistency is key. You want to keep looping that new story, that new version, that outcome that you want to create, no matter what else is trying to be thrown into the 3D circumstances right now, until that becomes your dominant focus, until you start to accept it. It starts to feel real. You're not pushing back against it as much, because your repetition is going to be what actually makes it dominant. And remember, don't check on your 3D reality thinking that will give validation or reassurance. A lot of times it doesn't, or it might look silent or very quiet. That is not lack. That is not proof of absence, right? Just because you can't physically see it yet. And that is oftentimes the old story. Your 3D reflects the old version of what you experience, not the new version that you've literally been writing now. The goal is to build up a habit where your mind will automatically revert to the new story. That's a bit of a juxtaposition, but yeah, it's going to hopefully, with the repetition and consistency, go back. Set that intention to, whenever your mind drifts or starts to get negative, you instantly go back to the new story. You start to remind yourself and think, this is my end result. Another quick practice and tip I would recommend is to visualize quick, short, simple scenes. Again, this sometimes comes up naturally, but you can do this as an actual practice of something like a text message that is exactly what you want to hear, good conversation, just some form of good communication or experience with your SP. So remember, the shift has already begun. It's already started to come together. Your 3D reality is often lagging a little bit behind. It's not the direct reflection of what's going on. Ironically, the 3D is not, and your SP are not literal mirror reflections where you look and you instantly see it exactly as it is. It needs a little bit of time for that reflection to actually come into frame, so to speak. So remember, the 3D is catching up. Your story and that shift has already started to come together. The domino effect is taking place, but your job is to stay consistent with it. So when you start to change your story consistently with your SP, you'll really see it reflected with their behavior, the way your SP acts and what they are reflecting back to you. They'll start reflecting the new story through their behavior, treating you as the version who you should already hold on to and see yourself as chosen, secure, loved, deserving. That is the version you'll get. So hopefully this was a useful video with some good advice. Do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.